everybody. As you can see in the title below, this is going to be a preview of what I'm calling my first ever big boy all by myself vacation. This will be the first vacation I've ever taken by myself. I'm going to New York City for 7 days. New York is my favorite city on the planet. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. As you're going to see, I've packed these 7 days as full as I can possibly get them. I still feel like there's so much other stuff I could do, but New York's very expensive, as anyone who's ever been there can tell you. I did get a pretty good deal on my hotel. My hotel is like a block from Times Square, and it's only like $870 for a week, which I looked it up for July. I'm going in February. I looked it up in July, and it's like double that, so I'm real glad I decided to go during the winter, especially during their off-season. But, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Broadway shows, doing a lot of historical stuff, as you'll see here when I detail each day. I leave February 1st. The night before, I'm actually going to be staying down at the Columbus Airport at the Fairfield Inn and Suites, so that way I don't have to worry about getting up early and driving. And my parking is included in my hotel for 7 days, which is a help that I don't have to worry about paying it when I come back. It'll already be on my hotel bill when I check out, so that'll be wonderful. Okay, so then, like I said, the night before I'm staying at the Fairfield Inn and Suites. Friday or Saturday, February 1st, I will be getting up about 6, probably somewhere in there. Maybe about 15 till, because I want to leave for the airport, excuse me, by about 6:20. My flight is at 6:30. That way I can get through security, get sat down, and just relax before my flight. I'm supposed to land at 10:30, but flights to New York are always like 30 to 40 minutes shorter than they ever advertise it. I believe with Delta, what Delta does is your flight time is from the time you pull back from your departure gate to the time you dock or whatever you call it at your arrival gate. I think that's what they factor into that. But after I land at the hotel, I'm going to get my Metro card, because I discovered a way that I can get to Manhattan from LaGuardia, not have to pay $50 for a cab. It would cost the equivalent of one subway ride, and I'm going to have an unlimited subway pass, so why the fuck wouldn't I do that? So then I'll take the train into Times Square to the 42nd Street Port Authority bus terminal station. I'll walk to my hotel. I probably won't be able to check in yet, but I can leave my bag. And then the plan is to go to Tom's Restaurant, which, if you've seen Seinfeld, Tom's Restaurant is the restaurant they used the outside of for any time they were at the diner. And then after that, the plan is to go check into my hotel, go to Walgreens and get, drinks, snacks. I'm not taking any toiletries with me because I don't want to have the hassle of dealing with taking those through security, because I'm not checking a bag. And then the plan is I'm going to meet my friend David for dinner, probably at McDonald's because we're both cheap. And then I actually have my first show that weekend. I have tickets to the Office musical parody, which is actually, it's unauthorized. Like, NBC has nothing to do with it. The guys who created The Office have nothing to do with it. And the person who plays Michael Scott is actually a woman, which is fairly interesting if you think about it, simply because the way the people who did the musical, and I agree with them, say it is, it would almost be unfair for another man to have played Michael Scott, because all that would happen is they would be compared to Steve Carell, and you can't compare anybody to Steve Carell as Michael Scott, because Michael Scott is probably in the top 2 or 3 television characters of all time. Nobody could touch Steve Carell as Michael Scott. But I do think it's fairly interesting that they do have a woman playing Michael Scott. I'm looking forward to it. I have the seat I bought. I'm in the first row on the aisle. And if you bought a front row seat, after the show's over, you could go on stage, take pictures on with the cast on the sets. And it's not a very big theater. I think the theater only holds like 180 people. It's actually at the Jerry Orbach Theater. If you know anything about Jerry Orbach, he was on Law and Order for a very long time. He was in Dirty Dancing, but he was a very big theater actor. So they have a area that has 3 or 4 different small theaters in it, and this is one of them. That's where the Office is. But with this, like I said, with the seat I bought, you do get to go on stage and take pictures with the cast on the stage, and with a Dundie Award and the World's Best Boss mug. So that's going to be very fun. And then after that, I'll probably just go back to my room and go to sleep, because I have a fairly full day on Sunday. I'm going to get up. Oh, I didn't say I'm staying at the Comfort Inn, Times Square West. I've stayed there. I think this will be the third time I've stayed there. It's very nice. It's very clean. It's very quiet. I'm not going to be in my room that much anyway. It comes with breakfast, so it's perfect for me. But Sunday, I'm going to get up and I'm going to eat breakfast, and then I'm going to take the subway to go see the Stonewall Inn. If you're unfamiliar with what the Stonewall Inn is, there was a very large riot that occurred, I believe, in the 60s, roughly, so like late 60s, very, very early 70s. That sparked the modern gay rights movement, and it's a mecca for people who are LGBTQ or people who are supporters of the LGBTQ. I've always wanted to see it. We've never really had time to go see it. I'm very glad I have time to go see it this time. And then after that, I believe I can walk. It's only like a 2-minute walk. I'm going to go to Trinity Church, where Alexander Hamilton, Elizabeth Schuyler, his wife, and Angelica Schuyler, who is Eliza's sister and who maybe not had an affair with Alexander Hamilton. Who knows? They're all buried there. I like to go visit there because I love the musical Hamilton. We'll get to that in a little bit. I really hope that this place across the street is still open. Anybody who's seen my Facebook, I had it as my banner picture for a while. It's a shoe store. And I normally wouldn't comment on a shoe store because they're a dime a dozen in New York. But this place's sign doesn't have the name of the shoe store, doesn't have, low prices. It says, we are probably the lowest priced in town. That's their sign for their store. I really wish they had a t-shirt because I would buy it and wear it all the time. But and then after that, there's a Wendy's real close. I think I'm going to eat lunch at Wendy's because I actually have 2 shows I'm seeing that day, 2 musicals. I am the first one I'm seeing is Book of Mormon, which is created, of course, by Matt Stone and Trey Parker, who created South Park. They've had to shorten his name because people were too offended by it. The villain in it is General BFN. Yeah, General BFN. That stands for butt fucking naked. That's the villain in Book of Mormon. I'm very excited to see that, and then I'm going to have to eat dinner somewhat quickly. I may even forego dinner till after my second show, because my second show is Aladdin. Anybody who knows me knows Aladdin is my favorite Disney movie of all time. I had tickets to go see it the last time I was in New York, which will have now been 3 years ago this year. Wow, that went quick. But 3 years ago, and I had tickets to go see Aladdin, and but about a month before I was supposed to go to New York, my brother said, hey, you need to look at Madison Square Garden's website. There was a WWE house show. I ended up going to that instead because I'm like, I can always see Aladdin. How many times am I ever going to have the chance to go to a WWE house show at Madison Square Garden? So I'm very, very excited to see Aladdin. The ticket I bought, it was for an extra like $5. You get the program. So I'm not going to buy a lot of merch because I'll have this trip, and then a couple months later I'll have WrestleMania. So, but I was like, $5 for the program, sure, why not? And then after that, like I said, I'll probably eat dinner after that because it starts at, I believe, 6:30. It'll be over by 8:30, 8:45, so I could still go somewhere and get a pretty good meal, and then head back to my hotel. And then on Monday, I've got a fairly full day. Not really full as in like I'm doing a lot of things, but full as in it's a lot of travel to get to it, which Friday will also be. But Monday morning, I'm going to get up and eat breakfast. And then I believe it's I have a 9 o'clock ticket for the 9/11 Museum and Memorial. I'm very excited for that. Each time we've been to New York, the first time we went, they were just about done with the museum. They hadn't finished the museum. They had the memorial, but they didn't have the museum. And then last time we went, it's a pretty heavy thing to go through, knowing what happened there. And you walk by the memorial, and it's literally, and my friend Big Time Breaks said this in his video of WrestleMania last year. it's incredible to see how wide those buildings. They were almost a football field wide at the bottom, like the base, which shows you how destructive those planes had to, like when they hit the towers, like how hard they had to hit them to be able to bring those down. But and then you get into the museum, and it's just, you see so many pictures of people, bravery and sacrifice, and guys going back in even though they were sick or hurt, trying to go in and find other people. And then the most harrowing part of the entire museum, in my opinion, they have a section dedicated to the people who ended up actually committing suicide because they decided, hey, I'm not going to burn to death or suffocate. I'm going to do this my own way. And the one particular story has struck with me since the last time I was there, which was 3 years ago. There was this lady, it was a firefighter, was telling the story. And he said it was the most dignified thing he'd ever seen. The lady had been sitting there for probably 45 minutes, and she stood up, she fixed her outfit, she fixed her hair, and off she went. He said that was the most dignified thing I've ever seen, because I said those are some of the real bravest people, because they knew they were going to die and were like, fuck this, I'm going to die the way I want to die. I'm not going to suffocate or burn to death. So I really respect those people. But yeah, so then I'll go through the rest. If you ever get the chance to go to New York, please go to the 9/11 Museum. It benefits the families of 9/11 survivors and people who passed. Hoping to get a picture of Pete Davidson's dad's name and Zelina Vega's dad's name. I wasn't able to get either one the last time. But and then after that, I'll go to lunch somewhere, probably Chipotle, because I have like a $50 Chipotle card. And then after that, I actually have a ticket for a cruise out to the Statue of Liberty to Liberty Island. For those of you who do know me, you know that I'm absolutely fucking petrified of heights. Like, I get a step up and I'm like, oh fuck. We had crown tickets. I got 3 steps up into the Statue of Liberty. I'm like, nope, fuck this. And this sweet lady, oh gosh, I wish I could remember her name. She she said, oh, don't worry, honey, you got further than most people did. But the Statue of Liberty, it's an incredible thing. Me being the numbskull that I am, every time I go out there, I've seen the movie The Day After Tomorrow like 30 times. I'm like, oh shit, here comes the wave, here comes the wave, here comes the wave. If you've seen the movie, it's frozen up to the top of the Statue of Liberty. But it's a very impressive thing. It truly is the symbol of American freedom. It's a beacon of hope for immigrants who come here, which, yes, anybody who is saying that this isn't true, we are a nation of immigrants. We, white people, are immigrants to this country. If you don't like it, too fucking bad. Don't want to get political here. But, yeah, it's Statue of Liberty, fantastic. I don't know if I'm going to do Ellis Island. I did it the last time. You can only see Ellis Island so many times, but it's a very neat thing. If you've never been, I recommend seeing it. And then dinner that night, I'm probably, I'm going to have a couple TGI Fridays gift cards. I'll probably eat there. And then my favorite musical of all time, anybody who knows me knows how much I love this musical. Monday night, I have a front row ticket. It's the same seat I've sat in 3 of the 4 times I've seen Phantom on Broadway. I just spoiled it. But yeah, I'm going to see Phantom of the Opera. I've literally sat in the same seat 3 of the 4 times I've seen it on Broadway. The only time I didn't, we bought tickets late because we didn't know. It was when I took my sister to see Billy Joel, and we didn't know we were going to go, and the seats we always sat in were gone. We sat at the other end, and we awkwardly stared at the people down there the whole time. Not really, but yeah, Phantom is that. I saw the movie in my freshman year in high school. I fell in love with the movie, and since then, I've completely fallen in love with musical theater. I think it is the greatest art form that anyone has ever created on this earth. Musical theater, laugh, cry, angry, so many things. But yeah, I love Phantom. Again, this is the 4th time I've seen it I will have seen it on Broadway. This will be the 6th or 7th time I've seen it total, because I've seen it in Columbus a couple times. But yeah, I'm very excited for that. And then that's it for Monday. I am gonna try and hit the Phantom stage door a couple times, only because Andrew Lloyd Webber, who wrote Phantom of the Opera, but also wrote Sunset Boulevard, Evita, Love Never Dies, School of Rock, so many, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Jesus Christ Superstar. I could go on and on, but he's been showing up a couple times a week. for about the last month, because they think they're getting ready to break in a new fandom, and he always does that when they're breaking in a new fandom. He's been showing up, so I'm going to try and meet him. If not, I'll try and meet whoever is playing the fandom in Christine right now. And then after that, I will go back to my hotel and go to bed very quickly. Because Tuesday, I don't really have a lot. This is going to be either like a rest day or like an exploration day. Like I can just explore Times Square. If there's an area of the city I decide I want to go see, I've got time to do it. But Tuesday morning at, I believe it's 8:15. No, 8:20. See, 8:20. I have to be there at 10 till 8. I'm getting a tour of NBC Studios. I've read reviews, and they say if you go on very early on Tuesdays, you have the best opportunity of seeing Saturday Night Live studio, which would be very important to me because I've grown up watching Saturday Night Live. I love Saturday Night Live. But you get to see, I think, at least 2 or 3 studios where they film shows, which I've seen the Tonight Show. It'd still be cool. But yeah, I'm very looking forward to that. And then, like I said, the rest of the afternoon and early evening, all I've got is lunch and dinner. I may use it as a rest day just because I've got so much the rest of the week. But yeah, and then Tuesday night, I will be going to see To Kill a Mockingbird on Broadway. Ed Harris is currently playing Atticus Finch, which my dad loved Ed Harris. So I'm very excited to get to see Ed Harris in a setting I've never seen him in before. I've heard he's very, very good. But yeah, I'm going to see To Kill a Mockingbird Tuesday. And then Wednesday is, I don't have a lot planned, only because I'll explain it in a minute, how the shows I'm seeing. But Wednesday morning, I'm going to get up and go see the Hamilton Grange, which is where Alexander Hamilton's last home. It is now actually a national park. It's free to get in, which is wonderful. Oh, speaking of that, I gotta go back. I forgot something on Sunday. It's Federal Hall. It's where George Washington took the first oath of office. So there's so many free things to do in New York. Yes, it's expensive. The food's a little more expensive. Shows are expensive, but it makes up for that with the fact you can see so many things for free, like museums and all kinds of stuff. But I'm very excited to go see the Hamilton Grange. And then I've got lunch. And then the reason I can't plan a whole lot, because I don't know where... there's this thing that they do. It's called Broadway Roulette, where it's $59 a ticket. And it could be any show, anywhere in the building. It could be front row in the orchestra. It could be in the last row in the balcony. But the kicker is, and it's only $59, the kicker is you don't know what show you're seeing until the day of the show. And I'm doing 2 of those that day. I'm doing a matinee and I'm doing a evening performance. A lot of people have been getting to Oklahoma lately, Jersey Boys. Sometimes Hamilton pops up, not very much. Sometimes Phantom pops up, not very much. But yeah, I'm very excited for that. Hopefully, as much as I would like to double up on like Phantom or another show that I'm seeing. It would be neat to see something I wouldn't necessarily normally see. I would like to kind of see Chicago, but their tickets are ridiculous. I'm not going to pay that. Lion King, but Lion King doesn't happen very much. I know some people, like I said, some people have been getting Jersey Boys. I love Jersey Boys. I saw it last year in New York with my sister. So that would be kind of cool. But yeah, that's what I've got Wednesday. Thursday, I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up, eat breakfast, all that. And then I'm going to go to the apartment building it's the Seinfeld apartment, the address that they used for Jerry Seinfeld's apartment in the show Seinfeld, and hopefully get my picture taken outside of it. And then I will be going back to Times Square. There's a new exhibit. It's called National Geographic Ocean Odyssey, I think is what it's called, but it's like you're at the deepest depths that a human's ever been in the ocean. Like, so you can see all these animals and sharks and fish and all this stuff. It was something I've never done before. Ripley's is right beside it. I've done Ripley's a couple times. I don't really feel the need to do Ripley's again. So that's why I decided on that. Then I'll get some lunch or whatever. And then I'm going to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. I've done this 2 times in New York, but they change the layout and they change the statue so much that every time you go, it's a completely different experience. And I did get an upgrade on the ticket that I have, where you get to do, there's what they call premium picture locations, like behind the Oval Office, and it's like you're being grabbed by Hulk, that kind of thing. And then there's a 4D zombie apocalypse thing. Last time we went, it was Ghostbusters. This time it's a zombie apocalypse. Last time it was really fun, so I expect it to be just as fun. And then for dinner, I think I'll go to BW3's because it's right across the street from the theater I'm going to. And then Thursday night, I will be going to see Hamilton for the 2nd time on Broadway, the 3rd time overall. You have to be living under a rock to not know about the musical Hamilton. I would say it's probably the biggest Broadway hit since Phantom of the Opera, probably. It's been on Broadway for almost 5 years now, and you still can't, like, if you're not online when tickets go on sale, you don't get them. They're gone. I was very lucky. I was home from work one day when I got my ticket, and I'm like, oh, shit, there's tickets on sale. They went on sale today. They're probably all gone. There was one ticket on the aisle upstairs. I'm like, yes, done. You have to get tickets as soon as you can. I'm very excited to see Hamilton again. I'm very excited to see James Englehart, who used to be the genie in Aladdin, who's now playing Marquis de Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson. Everybody I've seen as Hamilton has crushed it. I'm very excited to see the person who's playing King George currently. I've heard he's very, very good. But yeah, and then that's Thursday. And then Friday, again, I don't have a whole lot planned because it's my last day. I may use this mainly as my rest day, and Tuesday I'll explore and do whatever. But when Friday morning, I'll be going up to Harlem first to see the Apollo Theater. I don't know if they're doing tours on Fridays. I'll have to see. But and then the thing that's most important to me, one of the most important things for me on this trip, I went the last time and I'm going again. Anybody who knows me very well at all knows how much I admire and respect Malcolm X. You don't have to agree with everything somebody did or said to respect them and respect them and appreciate them. But yeah, I'm going to the Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz Center, which used to be the Aberdeen Ballroom, which is actually where Malcolm X was assassinated by Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. You can actually get within 2 feet, or no, even closer, like almost less than a foot away from the exact spot where Malcolm was assassinated. They still have the original piece of wood. Very funny story. I thought my sister, her now husband, and me were the only 3 people in there when we went the last time. So I felt a hand on my shoulder when I was looking at it, and I turned and it was an elderly black man. And I thought, oh no, I hope he's not angry that I'm here or think I'm like being disrespectful. And he patted me on the arm and he said, so you like Brother Malcolm? And I said, yes, sir, I do very much. He goes, more young people need to be like you, and just walked on. You can tell he appreciated the fact that me, a hillbilly white kid whose family comes from Eastern Kentucky, loves and respects Malcolm X the way I do. So that will be very, very important and emotional for me. And then something I found funny since the last time we were there, everybody's always heard the horror stories about Harlem, New York. It's, crime-ridden, and I'm sure there are parts that are there. I'm sure there are parts that are bad. I've always heard real bad things about the area around the Apollo Theater, which could not be further from the truth. We went there, and I'm like, oh, okay, we need to get there, get out, because I've never been up that area, and, I don't want to cause any trouble with anybody thinking we're being disrespectful. We get off the subway stop, we round the corner, and I immediately stop, and my sister and her then boyfriend, now husband, keep walking in about 5 steps, and she turns around and goes, Mike, what's wrong? And I said, well, this is not how I pictured it. And she goes, what do you mean? I go, well, first off, there's a Chuck E. Cheese across the street. There's a mall that's connected to the Chuck E. Cheese. And then right beside, connected to the Apollo Theater, is a Red Lobster. I'm like, that is not what I expected. a gentleman saw me chuckling. He goes, yeah, he said, we've cleaned up a little bit. But yeah, Harlem's a wonderful place. I'm actually hoping to be able to get up probably Tuesday to Washington Heights, which is where Lin-Manuel Miranda is originally from, and where Aaron Burr's last house was. I'm hoping to get to see that. And then I'm probably going to see a movie Friday afternoon. Maybe, I'm not sure, because their movie theaters are really fucking expensive. And then probably go to TGI Fridays and Geeks. Again, I said I'll have 2 gift cards. And then the final thing I will be doing, I'll be going to see a show that I've heard a lot about. I don't know a lot of the music of it, but I've heard a lot about it. Dear Evan Hansen. I'm very excited to see it. It's in a very unique looking theater. The outside of it literally looks like you're walking up the steps to like a city hall or something. Excuse me. So I'm very excited for that. And then that will actually be the end of my trip. I fly home Saturday morning. I think my flight leaves at like, I want to say like 9:35, 9:40, something like that. But yeah, I'll be really sad when I leave. This is something I can only do every couple years because, like I said, it takes a lot of planning, and it's very... Going to New York, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's also not super, 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 super cheap either. So you have to save up for a couple years, and plus I go to WrestleMania every year. I do other trips. I like to go to wrestling shows. You know, I've been to Chicago twice in the last 2 months for wrestling, but I love New York City. I will probably, like, every time I'm there, look for apartments, and then, like, holy fuck, I could not afford to live here unless I wanted 12 roommates. But, yeah, so that's the rundown of my trip. I'm debating on if I'm going to vlog. I don't know if I'm going to make just one big one, like, as a culmination of all of them, all the days, or if I'm going to do, like, individual videos. I will probably end up doing just one great big one that'll be, like, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever. But I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait. 14 days. I just got to get through the next 14 days. And then I'll be in my favorite city in the world. It's like the song in Hamilton says, we're here in the greatest city in the world, and that's what it is. It is the epicenter of the known universe. Everybody knows about New York City. Everybody wants to go to New York City. I've been privileged enough. This will be my 3rd week-long trip to New York City. I can't wait. I'm very excited. Thank you all for watching and listening, whatever. And I'll have some more videos coming up. Like I said, I don't want to really get into why I haven't been able to record, but there'll be more stuff coming, especially with WrestleMania coming up. So thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day. And to quote Maria Manic, peace, love, and Jesus.